Welcome to the Shop Rework Major Update. Deadlock's biggest patch yet, featuring some incredible tweaks to both the visual style and gameplay of Deadlock. With new map changes being added to the Cursed Apple, you can see the skyline is forever changed. Models have also been updated, with Dynamo and McGinnis being given their fully fledged high poly models. Also, every item in the shop has been given an art and gameplay pass, with new artwork, new abilities, and of course a global rebalance of the shop. Oh boy, this one's gonna be a doozy. Let's get into Patch Notice. As always, I'm your host Jacky. Let's see what Valve have changed for the 5th of the 8th, 2025. A big update for May. Stepping into the Curiosity shop, it's easy to see what's changed with this before and after comparison. On the left-hand side, the older UI that now feels so dated compared to the completed Art Pass version we've just received. You'll also notice not only do they look incredibly pretty, but they're also themed, with each of the categories being its own unique in-universe vendor. Gun representing Fairfax, Vitality representing MPS, and Curiosity Catalog now being the Spirit tab. And if you're worried about not being able to try out all the new items because of the category limits, well, don't worry. Every slot in the game is now universal, meaning you can go full gun, full vitality, and full spirit when it comes to your itemization builds, giving you way more control. But Valve have limited the amount of slots down to 12 to make your choices matter more. Less stat sticks, more unique gameplay items. Investment into each of these categories still exists though, and you'll still be rewarded for spending more money on one particular vendor. It's just displayed in a slightly different manner. But it's not just the visuals that have been updated, with tons of brand new sound effects being added as well that really bring the entire shop together and give it so much more life and a thematic identity. I love the new visuals as well that make it very easy to now understand build paths and also component trees. You can see when an item is available for upgrade and physically just click on it. Great work making the shop easy to understand. And great work with the brand new items as well, Valve. Let's check out a few of the new item designs and what they do. Let's start off with the new actives. Let's have a look then at Vortex Web first. A tier 4 spirit item and potentially one of my favorites in terms of design. Looking like an octopus that's thrown out, this will latch onto enemies and drag them into one location. A cool upgrade for slowing hex. But if you'd prefer to silence your enemies and then deal damage in a large burst at the end of the proc, you might want to try Focus Lens instead. However, if farming and dealing AoE damage is more your speed, you'll be happy to hear you can upgrade Cold Front into Arctic Blast. Featuring a very cool polar bear style design on the artwork, this bad boy casts out a freezing radius of ice that will do a lot of damage and slow your enemies on hit. Rusted Barrel though is more your speed if you're looking to slow enemies' fire rates and reduce their bullet resist, alongside whacking them with a nice rusty shiv. Whereas Fury Trance is quite an interesting item, a vitality upgrade from Bullet Lifesteal that will force you to make a trade-off, giving you a silence that will increase your fire rate but also stop your stamina regeneration, so a trade-off for damage output there. Capacitor is another really cool one. This is your evolution from Tesla bullets that also gives you the added benefit of an on-cast effect that will stop enemy abilities if it makes contact with them. Very interesting. Split Shot is super cool as well. I love the idea of Valve adding items like this that completely change your character's gameplay rather than just a stat buff. Split Shot does what it says on the tin, will split your shots and give you more damage output. But that's enough talk about actives. Let's have a look at some of the other items that are quite interesting. Mystic Regeneration will give you HP back from spirit-based damage output, and if you enjoy dealing spirit damage and love items like Mystic Burst, you'll really enjoy Tank Buster, the new upgrade for it. Or pick up the new Vitality item Trophy Collector, which is incredibly strong, giving you stacks that increase your health, sprint, ability range, and soul generation that even persist through death. Otherwise, for something a bit more unique, Witchmail will give you random ability cooldowns when taking heavy bursts of spirit damage. You've also got Blood Tribute, which is another interesting on-use active toggling item that can give you increased fire rate, but of course at a health drain sacrifice. Cool to see Valve trying out new ideas for items. Express Shot is also another fun upgrade that you can pick up from high velocity rounds, giving you that quick shot potential. Of course, it's not just the items that have changed, as the cost of them has too, with tier 1s costing 800, tier 2s 1600, tier 3s 3200, and tier 4s now costing 6400 souls. So you can see that they've slightly rebalanced the economy. However, to try and stimulate this a little bit, you'll start the game with 400 souls, allowing you to still quickly make that first in-lane purchase of an item, but giving the overall soul economy a bit more depth with the new pricing. And spending those hard-earned souls has never been easier, with Valve's new quick buy system. This one is a great overhaul for old and returning players alike, giving you the option to now auto-buy from your build. You can use these nice new little toggle boxes that will set it up so that your game automatically purchases the build through its entirety each time you pass a shop. Or you can use the new hotkey G to auto-purchase when you're near a location with the appropriate amount of souls. Very cool, love the new quick buy system. Build guides have also been overhauled, making them easier and giving more power to the creators. You can see that you can assign tags and customize the whole thing an awful lot more, making it so that build creators have a lot more control in Deadlock now. Love this, another great change to build offering that just keeps getting better patch by patch. Let's get into the fun stuff though. New models. An art pass has come in and this one is incredible. You can see on screen here the stark contrast and the way that the new shader for heroes makes it look almost like a comic book, giving you this unique outline around the edges of heroes. Even on the older models, this still looks very cool and makes you think, wow, the direction of the game that Valve is going to go in is going to look so striking as we get closer and closer towards it finally going into a public release state, or even at this point a beta state. But doesn't it look amazing? You can see the contrast here of the new McGinnis shader with some of the new elements that have been put in towards Broadway's Blue Lane. And also just factor in how pretty these free finish models now look. With of course Abrams being completed back in the free lane patch, you've now got McGinnis and Dynamo joining him. Hell, they've even got new avatars, being the only free heroes in the game with completed avatars now. It makes you so excited for the future of how every hero will look once they've been given this special treatment. I also really appreciate how on the new models, Valve have been using their abilities in a way that telegraphs exactly what it's doing visually, making it so that you can understand when an enemy is ulting, healing, or using some kind of aura just by what's emitted from the actual character model. So the animation, model, and abilities go hand in hand, giving you easier information on demand. And if we're talking about animations, look how smooth the new McGinnis ones are. I love also the way that they've refitted McGinnis to fit in lore. She's still a mechanic, she's still building these cool contraptions, but she's now using soul energy to power them, rather of course than just raw technology power alone, making it a little bit more accurate to Deadlock's lore and moving her away from Neon Prime. Another great update inside of this patch is what Valve have done to the minimap though, and this one will be appreciated by all players, I'm sure. More depth, more readability, and overall just a general art pass for the thematic style of the minimap has been brought in. You can see the before and after comparison here, with the old version being on the left. Firstly, you'll easily see that you can now indicate the HP and state of the patron and shrines on the minimap indicators, something which previously we didn't really have. You could tell if it was destroyed or not, but not what HP it has or what state it's in. They've also given you a secondary level of zoom, where when you hold Alt, you'll be able to highlight a darker gradient that makes it easier to see the lower levels of the map. But if you actually go to those lower levels, you'll also have the map transition to this, a second zoom level that will tell you exactly where you are and what underground portions translate to what locations above ground on the minimap. All in all, this is one of my favorite art changes inside of this update. It gives you so much more of a unique theme, and I love the visibility adjustments. There's been visibility adjustments for troopers as well, so let's put that under the microscope and see what Valve have adjusted as we dive back in lane. Now, they've effectively removed some of the annoying visual noise and replaced it with a very cool way of displaying HP for troopers. During the laning phase and laning phase alone, you'll now be able to see the outline of your troopers and enemy troopers' HP represented by this X-ray bar that fills up from top to bottom. Upon destruction of the first objective though, being the lane guardian, this will toggle off and remain only active for objectives from this point forward. You can see post-laning phase, when you've killed that guardian, you'll still have the walker lit up, but no longer enemy troopers, removing not only the visual noise from the older pop-up, but also the new potential visual noise you could get from this one. Valve have gone above and beyond with this, and you can see there was clearly a lot of thought process put into how to make this an easy way to understand HP, but not make it obtrusive. Great work, Valve. Giving information to the players was clearly a big part of this patch, and you can see that represented with the hero visibility adjustments we've also received. Taking inspiration from the Trooper HP shader that you saw previously, you'll now have something similar applied to your teammates so that you know what health your brutes and frontliners are on compared to your McGinnis sat in the back. If they're behind a wall and obscured part of their body, it will then display the X-ray overlay alongside the HP bar. Soul Orb mechanics have also been tweaked, and for me this is one of the biggest parts of the update that a lot of people are overlooking. Soul Orbs have never felt better in my eyes. Visually, there were some tweaks to them, yes. You can see they're somewhat darker, and they also visually indicate when you should shoot at them. When they're in that blackened state before the color pops in, you will not be able to pre-fire them. You'll also now get ammo back from securing or denying souls. I love this. I've been begging for this one for a while. I've always been asking about it, posting on the forums, so I'm really excited to see that Valve have adopted this idea and gone in the direction of giving you souls back from confirms or denies. I think that's a good way to balance the game long term. It will keep lanes competitive and make it very fun for players. You don't have to worry about wasting ammo. You've got ammo scavenger by default. Comment yes for that one. Map changes though, let's have a look at some of the more art directional stuff that's gone in, because as you can see, we've got two brand new big buildings. Both of the bases are unique, and so are the lanes themselves. Let's step into Blue Lane and see what's changed. It really does feel like you've been transported to an entirely different game now, almost like you're walking through Diagon Alley or something. There's new interiors, new lighting, new billboards, just new everything. So many of these brand new assets have been put together in one small location as well, which I think is what's making it such a pronounced jump with the new visual comparison. You can see in these before and afters just how much more life this area has been given. Blue Lane looks really pretty now. It's got an awful lot of elements that are trending in the direction of finished Deadlock, and kind of giving you an idea of when we get towards that point, how the game's going to look. Source 2 is such a powerful engine, and this is only the tip of the iceberg with what Valve are going to be doing when it comes to making all these custom prefabs and new assets that they're sprinkling across the cursed apple. It's not just visual changes though, although there are many. You can see here on Blue Lane they've also made some gameplay additions and revisions, with the apartment buildings now being reduced in height and opening up the top layer, giving you a roof access point with a zipline connecting the whole way through. I actually really enjoy the way this has changed fights at mid, and it gives you a lot more verticality to use, giving you new and interesting ways to scrap when in the mid lane. This is generally a really good gameplay improvement, and Blue Lane just keeps on getting better and better since that initial move to 3 lanes. Now, they've also made quick rotates and fighting over bridge buffs a lot easier, and I think more encouraged inside of this patch. The minimap now of course tells you when bridge buffs are up, and you also have this new map geometry, a bit of scaffolding that will allow you to clamber your way up and catapult straight to the bridge buff with no more jumps or complicated movement. It's as simple as that now. The bridge buffs themselves of course have been slightly replaced, and so have the bridges beneath the bridge buff bridges. That's a lot of bridges. All in all, the art pass for these is really pretty, and you can see that it's coming into its own. Very Bioshocky, very cool kind of chrome, shiny models being added. I believe the bottom bridges as well, although give you more visibility, are actually older models. I'm pretty sure these are the Caldera Trooper bridges that have been brought back. Really like them though. I'm glad they've used those bridges. It would have been a shame to see them thrown away. So that's a cool way we're getting elements of Deadlock's past still used during its transition towards a finished game. You've got the church and the bell tower over in Greenwich as well. It really makes sense now why Greenwich took so long to be tweaked and why it broke in the previous update. I guess they were working on a retro refit for the lane with a lot of elements of the geometry being updated, and boy does it look pretty. The new church is great. This really gives me an idea of the new visual style they want to go for, that Hellboy-esque comic book look. You can see it in the design. It's not really got those sort of soft edges, it's very hard, it juts out, it looks a bit awkward, and I love that. I think that's actually more the look they're going for. But on the contrast, the uptown side towards the Sapphire Flame, you can see that everything's very polished, very clean. They've got these pristine jade roofs that are going in with all the up-end apartment buildings as well. All in all, the skyline of New York looks so different and it's so pretty. Verticality is back. Gorgeous Deadlock is here. Oh boy, it's a good time to be a fan of Valve's. Long-term viewers of the channel will remember, of course, we data mined a lot of these files way back. And it's so cool to see finally some of the things we were speculating on, like the theater and the church, being added to the game, and how it now looks, being able to get our hands on it. Wonderful to see Valve's decision making here with some of the new visual theming. They've also made some more gameplay related tweaks to both the jungle camp areas in the game, the bear and bull sides respectively. You can see that the high roofs have been lowered to open them up as more gameplay accessible elements of verticality. Something Valve keep doing across the entire map, which I love and will always be happy to see. Let's have a look at the before and after comparison of the skyline though. As you can see, going towards the Sapphire Flame, it's so striking now and really does glue your eyes towards it, making you know what you're fighting towards and what side you're on. You can see on the other side of the coin, of course, with the amber hand, that this building does not stop. It just keeps going up, where previously it was just a plotted out open sky area, effectively a train station placeholder. You've now got the full finished model that's gone in that looks so cool. It's really interesting to me, this idea that maybe they're the ones making the candle troopers in this sort of factory. You can also get your brain box going about the ideas of the cutscenes that could play when your hero gets its wish from the patron now in the basis post-game. So much cool stuff that Valve could be working on, and visually just such an upgrade. The before and after comparisons of these are crazy. The lighting, the theme, the style, this feels like a base built for an old god, and really is exciting to see where we're going in terms of the new base designs. It's not just about the visuals as well though, even inside of the base. They've opened up many new gameplay avenues with, again, more verticality. You've got more ropes, more areas, more bridges. The shrines have been moved into these little cubbies in the back left and right. Oh, and did I mention the base itself is now reactive and will dynamically change based on the state that your patron's in. So when it goes into that weakened state and drops into the pit itself will become accessible. Before that, it will be a visual throne room and the geometry will adapt. Even the outside just looks so good. Doesn't matter what angle you look at it at, both of these bases are amazing, and this was a really unexpected but really loved update for me. Let's have a look at the breakables then as well, as these have also been changed. They snuck this one in. Golden Buddhas are yet unchanged, but boxes have been given a nice retheme and now suit the Fairfax Industries branding. They also break in a more unique manner and react to the environment and have a bit of a shell shading shader on them themselves as well. So gone are the days of the hyper-realistic box. Oh, and doesn't it make underneath mid look even more appetizing? Then you want to get in there and just smash all these boxes to bits. Well, maybe it makes you want to pick up the Soul Urn instead, as it's a bit more of a seance now. You can see they've added some visual flair to the Soul Urn spawn area with 4 candles orbiting around it. But that's enough about visuals. Let's talk about game feel and optimization, as there's been a ton of tweaks inside of this patch. So many bugs have been squished, and overall Valve have massively improved the feel and responsiveness of the game. Talking about some of the bug fixes, you've got improved unit targeting logic now added for all of the AI inside of the game. They've also smoothed out some of the non-ideal networking conditions, fixed a random bug that would occur where melee range would be misinterpreted on the server side, giving you an incorrect range advantage, resolved jitter with ziplines or ropes, and generally just smoothed out the experience of playing the game when interacting with things that would previously cause slight lags or moments of stutter. So rope jitter's gone, don't have to worry about that, it feels super smooth now. Similarly, when zipping around corners on zip lines, that's also not going to be anywhere near as jarring, or if you're near another player, that awkward moment of lag that would occur with these interactions, that's all been resolved. Valve have gone in, targeted issues to do with high and low ping interactions between players fighting as well to improve hit registration and fairness when it comes to misinterpretation of inputs. Great change there, incredible bug fixes. Movement has also been given another pass. Now, a couple patches ago, we saw some tweaks to wall jumping and generally some changes to the movement system. I called that a bit of a movement 2.0, if you will, but this further feels like an evolution of that. We've been given a new tech, mantle gliding. Now you can glide forward with a burst of speed when holding control and mantling up an object. This will work on anything in the game and gives you a nice thrust, which makes movement even more seamless, giving you way more control and more opportunities to interlink different parts of Deadlock's intricate movement system to further bounce, sprint, slide, and catapult yourself all over the cursed apple. All in all, this has made movement even better for new players, and I think generally given a lot more control. I've seen some mixed rhetoric about if everyone's enjoying it, but for my money, I think this is really a good change. It's improved wall jumping, made everything feel a bit more responsive, and like they've done by giving ammo scavenger to everyone by default, has really felt like some of the items that made movement good aren't as necessary anymore. By base, it feels great. General gameplay has also been tweaked and has some good additions as well. So let's put that under the microscope and see what Valve have adjusted. The camera has once again received more quality of life tweaks. Previously, we had the addition of your model fading out when backed up towards walls. Now objectives and other heroes will also act in a similar way. Killing 2 walkers will now be what grants you your 3rd flex slot rather than having to kill every single walker, so that should make it a little bit easier. There's also been another change to how you get your 4th flex slot. Now you have to kill just the base guardians rather than the base guardians and a shrine. So shrines now only being a bit of a stagger to control those express lanes rather than being used for flex slots. In general, we've seen a lot of rebalance to walkers as well, as side walkers now have lower HP relative to mid walkers, going down to minus 40%. You'll also see the height of walkers' stomp ability also going down to 6 meters. A lot of changes, including updates to the backdoor protection. Let's move on then and talk about the changes to heroes, as every hero in the game has had a stat rebalance in coordination with the item rework. So things should be fair in terms of statistical changes when it comes to damage output to both guardians, walkers, and objectives alike. Everything has been given a bit of a pass when it comes to numbers. So let's check out what they've done to power-ups and bridge buffs. Let's start off with Survival. Survival's minimum health has been reduced from 250 to 200, alongside minimum regen being reduced from 0.75% to 0.5%. We also had some changes to movement, with minimum sprint being reduced from 2 meters to 1.5 meters, so you won't be as quick with the movement buff these days. Moving on from that, we can check out what they've done to the gun buff. Minimum fire rate reduced from 15% to 12%, so that minimum increase on the fire rate going down slightly there should mean that you're not as powerful. Your ammo reserves will also be somewhat nerfed, going down by 10%, from 30% of an increase to 20% increase at the lowest level of gun buff. Finally, for the casting buff, minimum tech power has been reduced from 20 to 15, listed as tech power in the patch notes. I believe, of course, that's a holdover with Neon Prime's verbiage, meaning spirit power. You've also had a reduction to your CD, so that cooldown reduction going down from 15% to just 12%. Couple of changes there to those bridge buffs, so keep it in mind. Keep in mind the new timings as well, as a few things have changed. including teleporters now being always open and accessible at any point in the game, alongside, of course, breakable spawn times changing, as breakables now spawn at 2 minutes and power-ups spawn at 5 minutes. Ziplines have also had their fair share of changes as well, so you'll now notice that it's a lot harder to get back in lane. Zipline boost speed has gone down to 80% from 130, and zipline boost cooldown has gone up to 360 seconds, meaning it's far harder for you to get those quick return frags back in lane after your first death. Keep that in mind when laning. But that's it for this episode of Patch Notice. As always, I've been your host, Jacky. Tune into the Dead Air podcast on Spotify every Saturday to get mine and Blank's thoughts, and of course, check out DLN with Daisy every Monday. I've been Jacky, though. Thank you for tuning in to Patch Notice. Don't forget to like and subscribe, comment your favorite part of the update, and we'll see you next time.